Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. Holy cow, do we have a jam-packed show. It is Friday. We are in the middle of the big dance. Massive college basketball matchups. We got today, we got Saturday, we got Sunday, and we got a loaded show to get you ready for all of these games. Dan, I am not going to win the $1 billion on Kalshi.
Sadly. You didn't get the perfect bracket? Yeah, I'm in a family bracket pool, Andy, and I'm the only one who works in sports betting, and I am currently 12th out of 12. So strong showing from your boy out the gate. That's why, I love bracket season. Don't get me wrong, but every year I suck at it because I'm not a college basketball handicapper. I just love March Madness. You know what I mean? So luckily, you don't have me giving you free picks on college basketball. We got three of the absolute sharpest minds. We got Gianni the Greek. He's going to kick it off. What's going on? Movers, shakers. What action are we seeing this morning in college basketball? He's going to let you know all of it right here at the top. Then we got Teddy Covers coming on. We're talking Iowa and Clemson, Northern Iowa. So an Iowa heavy segment from our man Theodore Covers. They're taking on St. John's. How should you be betting both of those games? And we're going to have a little fun and sell me. That's all I'm saying. And we're going to end things on the show here today. Marco D'Angelo, he's talking Cal Baptist taking on Kansas, and Mizzou taking on Miami of Florida. So he's also going to talk, are there any sleepers? I mean, we've kind of seen this tournament shake itself out. Really, top seeds did well outside of a handful of them. The little scare with Duke, of course. But they end up getting it done. So we're going to get the thoughts there from Marco. We're going to go all around the world. Andy's got free plays for you here, folks. So we are loaded on a Friday. If you're not ready to bet Friday after this show, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, let's get to it. Let's bring in Gianni. Gianni, happy Friday. How are you, sir? Hope everything
my man, never well. Better. I'm a little mad. I'll tell you why. Let me get it off my chest real quickly. And it's because I lost my 5%. Ended up actually turning a little profit overall for the day. But that cost me what would have been a nice 5-2 start for the tournament with North Carolina. It did everything right there. We got a little closing line value. They were up 19.
That lead, too. So it wasn't even like you just lost. You lost in that fashion that they were up. You end up going to overtime. And typically dogs go to overtime to die, and it was the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's just one of those where everything had to go against me to lose that bet. And, you play that 100 times and 99 out of 100, you're going to cash that ticket. But you got to shake that off because there's just such good bets to place that you can't let that bother you. As long as if North Carolina went in there and got blown out by 30 points or the game closed at a pick'em and I laid minus 130 on the money line, then I'd say it was a bad bet regardless of outcome. And I was just hoping to get lucky. But the fact I got down at a good number, the team did exactly what I expected. The market reacted the exact way I expected with the star player. That was it. The best is guys sending in emails to customer support that ask if I knew that they have a player out. No, I had no idea North Carolina was missing a player. Those are just nonsense questions. But make a long story short, it rubbed me a little wrong. North Carolina should have got there. But with that said, it's going to happen. And throughout the tournament, you're going to have some good beats. Some lucky wins and some bad beats. You got to shake the bad beats off and just keep moving forward. Because, again, there's a ton of value to be had in college basketball, currently sitting in the top 3 in profit. And I have 4 premiums for today already. I have a PFL Madrid that goes off at noon. I'll give that to you guys right now for free. It's a 4%, and it's on Mark Ewen, E-W-E-N. That's come from one of my originators. We laid minus 180, minus 190, minus 200 on Mark Ewen. I think he's anywhere from 210 to 235 right now, depending where you shop. Follow or fade, it's up to you. But I have a 4% release to subscribers. Also, real quickly, if you're betting the tournament and you're not a subscriber and you're betting more than $10 a game, you may want to consider the Steam sheet. The information that's on there for this tournament is very, very valuable. It's going to put you way ahead of the market on a lot of these. I'm seeing stuff that's already on there that's getting steamed. So if you already liked it, you'd have a much better number if you followed it. For example, there's already 6 plays for Saturdays college basketball action. Like, so if you already had opinions for tomorrow's game, there's already 6 moves in there that betting syndicates are firing on, and you could get down early again if confirmed. So check that out. If you're a subscriber, again, you're already getting it. So there's UFC, NHL, NBA, college basketball, all that good stuff in there. But a lot to get to today. So whatever you want to talk about, like I said, I got action, and we have action going off in the next 10 minutes with Kentucky, who's going to do some damage today. Go Kentucky. Beat that Santa Clara team.
Well, let's take a look at some of these lines. I mean, the books, some of these games have been out for a while, but the books are having to react to line moves. They're having to react to injuries. Yeah. What are we seeing in today's game so far in the markets? What
I expected, the publics on Akron, wise guys are on Texas Tech. That's why that line's sitting around that 7. That was at 7.5 till early this morning. Some of the 7.5s got taken out. Again, 8 out of every 10 tickets being written is on the Akron side. Obviously, we know that the injury for Texas Tech lost a big production from their starting lineup in February. But I talked about that on Bet On It with value over replacement. I still think Texas Tech should be a much bigger favorite. In fact, I made them about 9.5, 10. That's after the adjustment for the injured player. So I like that Texas Tech side. Also, you're seeing a lot of these totals that got steamed under early get bet over late today. Perfect example, Wright State, Virginia, another early game. If you look at the total, it looks like the total got steamed under, and yet it's getting bet over off screen. And you're seeing like another game where it's public on one side, 8 out of 10 tickets on the under, but the sharps are sneaking in with over money there, just like Santa Clara and Kentucky, this early game going off. If you just looked at the screen, you'd probably conclude that the sharp money's on the under. Nothing could be further from the truth. Early small limit bets for a nickel went under at 60.5. But at 57 off screen, that's been getting hit all morning, the over in the Kentucky game. So a lot of that where I've seen these unders get bet early on the games that you're expected lower scoring, kind of the opposite with the higher scoring ones with the overs. They're doing the exact same thing where betting it over and then coming back with the under, or betting it under, then coming back with the over. So I've said it a lot on this show. Pay attention to the late moves when you see that limits change. And if it's a sport where the limits are changing day by day, pay attention mostly to when the limits are at their greatest. And that's today, right now. A couple other things I'll mention. Some of the one-sided public, the most one-sided public signs are Akron getting a ton of money from the public. Hofstra, that's a dog getting a ton of love from the public. Prairie View, another dog getting love from the public. They're liking these dogs. They're liking Miami, Ohio, another dog getting love. Wright State, another dog getting a lot of love. They're liking these big dogs. Santa Clara, small dog. They're liking Santa Clara. Sharp money on Kentucky, myself included. We laid the Kentucky money line, Kentucky -3 as well. That's why you're looking at 3.5. Earlier, though, they did dummy it down with Santa Clara +4.5. That was the first move when this game came out. You saw a little Santa Clara +4.5. But again, the limits were very low earlier in the week. Big money came in today on Kentucky -3. Final bracket, St. John's, Northern Iowa, more public money on the Northern Iowa side. Kansas, Cal split. Arizona, Long Island split. Utah State, Villanova. I'm hearing different things depending on who you talk to. It's weird. I've talked to bookmakers that are one-sided on Utah State. A lot of it's sharp. And then I'm talking to other bookmakers that are saying one-sided on Villanova, public, all public. And then another guy saying, I got Utah State, public. Not sharp money. It's the public on Utah State. So a lot of mixed signals on that Utah State-Villanova game. Personally, what did I make the game? I made the game Utah State -1. So nothing for us to bet.
Well, Gianni, I can tell you one of the narratives that's coming from that why we're seeing a lot of love for the dogs in the public is there were a few sports books that have early payouts on money lines on massive dogs. So the game that this affected the most was this Siena and Duke game. If you made a money line bet on Siena and they got up by 10 points, your bet was automatically paid. So people were, a couple books did this. So people were cashing 55-1 tickets when Siena went up early on Duke. Social media got flooded with some of these tickets. Who knows how many of them are real or fake, but I'm just telling you that immediately every person came up with the same idea. Good. Why not take the underdog on every game? Let's parlay them.
I know we got great guys coming up from behind with a lot of good information to share with you guys, but we got to talk on this for a minute. Please, please, please. The biggest takeaway from what Andy just shared with us right there is that these, besides what social media is saying and what gambling Twitter is saying, these sports books are making so much money that they're just giving it away. That bettors are taking so much the worst of it that they're just finding ways to give them some money back. And we talked about this a few months back, where for the first time ever, real high up from one of the most known offshore sports books, global sports books, first time ever went on record, because he doesn't work for them no more, isn't in the industry, and talked about how the meetings they were having were, what are we going to do? These kids are losing their money too quickly. How do we slow this down? Like they're worse at this than we thought. Like we knew we were going to make money, but we didn't know we were going to make it this fast. Like they're that quickly going to extract the money from their customers. They were actually worried about that. Like talking about, do we have to give them a little better odds on parlays, on teas? Like, what do we have to do? Because our customers aren't surviving long enough. Like this isn't sustainable. So they're like, people are making such bad bets that look, they're finding ways to just give you some money back. Like, please just take some of this back. Stop giving it to us. And we talk about this all the time here. When you're buying points without knowing what they're worth, when you're doing nothing but betting parlays and taking the worst of it, and teasers and taking the worst of it, and laying minus 115s instead of 105s, and taking, bad numbers, it's so hard to win when you're doing everything right. But throw that into the mix, any mistake, and it makes it almost impossible, to where sportsbooks are now giving you money back just if your team has a lead, for God's sakes. Wow.
I'm looking at that particular sportsbook right now, and they're bragging about it. We paid out early on all games so far. Get paid out early when your team goes up $10,000 first bet, safety net bet.
Good for them. Good for them. So in other words, if you opened an account there and tried to bet cricket, it would be shut down by your third bet, for sure.
Oh, I'm well aware. Believe me, I'm well aware about all the books that I do not have access to anymore. Yeah, we have to tread very lightly with some. I can't bet too much on darts on that book. I know exactly what's going to happen.
That's what I was just going to say. I don't know who you're talking about, but guaranteed they're not what's it called? Enticing sharps to come bet with them. They're not saying we got minus 105 here. Come on in.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do just a quick little UFC look. I know you haven't looked totally at the lines, but just some kind of quick thoughts here real quick. Looks like only one fight. Yeah, we lost one fight. The Melissa Mullins, Luana Carolina fight got canceled. But I'm really curious about this main event. Evloev and Murphy. I like the dog quite a bit.
Here's the thing. You have to bet dog or pass here. As elite as Evloev obviously is, having, no one's made a penny fading him in the UFC. He's undefeated, or in his career at all. So obviously it's hard to find reasons to fade him. But as he continues to step up in competition, it's just so hard to sustain that. And he's so heavily chalked against a very dangerous opponent who also has been pretty much perfect since his, debut draw. I think it's a dog or pass situation as well. I'm just surprised how much respect Evloev is getting from the market. Like it's almost like sirens going off. Like, is he really that good? Is it going to be that? Like, if he makes this look easy, wow. Because that's what this line reflects. If you're laying this kind of price, it shouldn't be a difficult fight. And even though it's heavily favored to go to a decision, it should be 50-45. You know what I mean? 49-46 at worst if you're laying that kind of chalk. And I'm not sure you could beat Murphy like that. So I agree. I think it's dog or pass. What's funny is the fight that got canceled, I actually like Carolina in that fight. But I like Al-Sawadi over Shamrock. I know everyone thinks Shamrock's going to come back and get his first UFC win. But I like Al-Sawadi. I like the camp he's in with Fortis. I like how he's more well-rounded. It's a good spot for him in this fight. I like how he's coming in as well. He's coming in off that loss, but it was a knockout that was so close. Like if you look at the scorecards up until that 49 seconds left, you wouldn't know who was ahead. And I think he bounces back from losing his debut. So I like that a little bit. And real quickly, 2 UFC sides that were in the Steam sheet earlier in the week. One of the guys that originates bet Luke Riley and Curtis Campbell. Luke Riley and Curtis Campbell, both chalk, but chalk's been winning, so I'm not surprised to see some sharp money on chalk. They like Riley and Campbell. So I haven't used it for subscribers or anything. Again, I'm being a little selective, and with favorites doing so well in the UFC, I need to have a strong conviction to bang the favorites, and I didn't have strong enough opinions on Riley and Campbell of my own to just piggyback the originator that likes them.
Any last thoughts, piece of advice for everybody that's betting on the college basketball tournament? My one piece of advice is be careful with this. So easy to pull it out and make a million live bets while you're watching with your buddies. And all of a sudden you've got so many live bets that you're way overexposed. That's my only piece of advice.
Yeah, that number one, that is key. You got to minimize your risk at all time and take into account that you're going to be betting from early in the morning till late at night. And if you're waiting for your early games results to determine what you're going to bet and how much you're going to bet, you're doing it wrong. That's the problem. You're over betting your edge. If you're waiting for these first slate of games, again, to go final, so you could see that if I went 2-1, I'm going to bet this less, that you're doing it wrong. You should already have managed your risk correctly and spread your bets out at the most opportune time to bet, not based on your earlier results. Again, you got to revisit your thesis if that's how you're doing it, because I did it that way for a very long time myself. Like if I hit those early games, I'm unloading on this late game and stuff like that. Number one, stay away from doing that. And finally, don't draw conclusions off of one game, because that's what the sports books are depending on. Throughout this tournament, you're going to see these lines affected by a lot of recency bias, what bettors saw last. So be cautious on the narratives off of 40 minutes of basketball. Duke is still the best team in college basketball. They're still the number one power rated team in college basketball. They're still favored over everyone on a neutral court. Don't let that scare by Siena have you draw conclusions that, oh, they're phonies and stuff like that. That'll get you in trouble during the tournament quicker than anything else. Or, determine that this team's legit, or because I'm seeing it like we said with Miami getting love, these teams getting love because they won the playing game or that kind of stuff. Be cautious drawing conclusions off of one final.
Love it. Gianni, what do you have everyone for this weekend?
All right. I have the UFC package up, and I still going to put some more work into this card, but with all the attention on college basketball, usually find value in those other markets. My Saturday card will be up later tonight because I already confirmed some positions. Like I said, there's 6 moves in the Steam sheet for today for tomorrow's games. That is up. Steam sheet's up. A package for today with, I had 4% in there. I think it went down because Kentucky was number 1, but it'll be back up and more stuff's being added because I like 2 or 3 more later games that I'm working on confirming. Again, I'm bouncing back off that 5% loss. Still really sitting well in college basketball, but got to do some damage in this tournament. And next 3 days should be fun for us. So best of luck to everyone else as well, and do some damage. We'll talk we'll know who the Sweet 16 is next time we talk.
Absolutely, Gianni. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, brother.
Have a great tournament. Good luck, man.
Thanks, Gianni.
All right, Dan. I just had an idea. So someone reached out to me while we were doing a live show, and they pointed out on Bet365 that they have this free contest where you can put in a bunch of player props. It costs you nothing, And if you win, you get like a pretty hefty payout. Now it's a big long shot.
Yeah, but still.
That's what I mean. So Gianni was talking about like, how do we like get like
take advantage of like the big promos, things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Do we need to work on finding out what some of the best hidden secrets of some of these books are? Because I don't use any of them, but one of the reasons I don't use any of them is I was talking to a guy from one of them, and he was like, yeah, like when someone uses one of those promos, we get a lot of information about them. But it feels like there's some hidden gems in there. If they're trying to get new customers or they're trying to entice old customers, how can we take advantage of it?
Well, Andy, for so long when all of these, the sports books were opening up in these different states, they were becoming legal. Like it was a thing where folks would travel from state to state, sign up, do the whole promo deal, and then, leave. And it was a big problem for a lot of these books, especially when it was sharp guys who were doing it. It was a big story, and I guess it still is to some degree, but that's where you're playing a dangerous game. Because you take advantage of one of these promos. And guess what? Like Gianni said, like you kind of said, are you going to be able to continue to bet there? Probably not. And for what we do, we need the outs. We need the different options. We need the difference between a 1 point or a half point on a player prop. So for you and I, is it worth it for the one big score? Probably not in the long term. But if we want to do some investigative stuff and drop it for people in the live chat to take advantage of, hell yeah, man. I'm totally on board with that, because like this up by 10 thing is insane. You know what I mean? Like that, and they've done this before in football and things like that. But when you have such a wide range of how you could cash in with all of these games, 32 over these last 2 days. If you're not taking advantage of that, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. But you do run the risk of them saying, all right, thanks for playing here. We'll see you next time,
Yeah, like they're not going to let me boost our darts play.
No, that's not even an option. So many times when you get those like little boosts and everything like that, like I cook up a nice little slip and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to add, not even an option to add the 10% boost or whatever the hell it is. Yeah. And also you're limited out the ass too. So, like these are like long shot things you do, but then they have these quantifiers, like odds can't be longer than X or odds can't be shorter than X. So, and then you get to bet $10 on it. So,
all right. Well, we're going to work on that. That's a work in progress. So,
all right.
But
we'll get the research and development. We'll get R&D on it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, thank you guys for buying the $5 Tuesday darts play cash yesterday. So we just keep rolling in that one. So, much appreciated. $5, easy 4% winner. So, let's bring in Teddy. We got to keep the basketball talk moving. No one lets to scammer on about bonuses and
it's helpful though.
Hey, listen, we try and help. I'm assuming there's not many sports books in Vegas that offer things like that, where if you bet on a team and they go up by 10, they just automatically pay you out. I'm guessing Heart to Caesar doesn't do that over at the West.
So yesterday, Siena was the first 16 seed ever to lead by double digits at halftime. Over Duke. So it's not like that the books are paying that out all the time. But you talk about guys that like just cross the border to go over the state. There were guys in Vegas that I knew that used to just cross the border into Arizona, just go over the Hoover Dam, and take advantage of what they wanted to take advantage of, and then drive back. That being said, it didn't last long.
Well, and you talk about just the differences in what's being offered. So when my now wife lived in Manhattan, many a times would I take the PATH train to get over into New Jersey. So because I couldn't bet New York teams and vice versa. So I was going back and forth just because I was like, oh, I really like this Manhattan play. So that's the nature of the beast, man, with this difference in state lines.
Teddy, I want to get your take on obviously we're going to break down a couple of college basketball games, but this Lakers deal is quite impressive. Luka goes out on a back-to-back and hangs 60 on the Heat. And by the best quote of the night, you're a big quotes guy, was afterwards when they asked Bam Adebayo about it, and he was like, yeah, it was amazing. Scoring 60 is incredible. It shows you how hard it is to get to 83. Like,
dirty dog.
It was the best pat on the back quote I've ever seen. Is this Lakers thing for real? They've all of a sudden turned into one of the best defensive teams. They've got the best score right now in the league. What's going on with the Lakers? Are you buying this?
Well, you buried the lead there because you talked about at the very end, all of a sudden, Lakers are playing defense. And that's something that the Lakers did not do for most of the campaign. And when you have a team with a three-headed monster who can score, with a guy with plenty of championship experience, a guy who's been in the finals, and Luka, obviously LeBron on the one side, and then as well as, and in my mind, Austin Reeves was the key piece of the puzzle. For as much as Luka and LeBron get the headlines, Austin Reeves is the straw that stirs the drink for the LA Lakers offensively. So when they have Reeves back playing well, and the defensive intensity is there, right now among Western Conference teams, here's my powering numbers. I got OKC, I got San Antonio, and then I got the Lakers and the Nuggets tied. So, that puts them in the top quartet of the West. Now, is this team ready to pull an upset over OKC or San Antonio or both? That might be a little bit rich for LA, but can they win a first-round series? I think they can.
Yeah, I mean, just get to the playoffs. You never know if one of these top seeds gets a timely injury. We see it all the time. Some team gets an injury and just make it to the playoffs. And look at the distance. My God, what's this? Cade Cunningham? Oops, it's terrible.
In the playoffs last year, Tatum got hurt for the Celtics. Celtics are done. Halliburton gets hurt for Indiana. Indiana's done. It happens. Top guys go down. Lakers are live. They're not a favorite, but they're live.
All right, we're going to move here to college basketball. We got a couple games that we're going to break down here for you. So we're going to let's do Iowa and Clemson first here. Looks like Iowa -2.5, odds logic -1.5 ish. So over under 128.5. What a low total this is. This is like 30, 40 points lower than some of the other totals on the board. So how do you break this one down?
So let's start with a little recap of what happened yesterday, because something interesting happened yesterday in the big dance, and even going back to Tuesday and Wednesday. Yesterday, underdogs 10-5-1 against the spread. All right, and the one, the USF Louisville, I guess it was a bad beat for the Cards. The 1 by 4 landed right on the number of 4. And I heard multiple bookmakers really complaining about that finish being a bad result for the house. But 10-5-1 ATS for the Dogs. So what favorites covered? Houston -24, Illinois -25.5, Arkansas -15, Michigan State -16.5, Nebraska -13. Single digits favorites went 0 for Thursday in the big dance. Oh, they went 0-2 in playing action on Wednesday. And on Tuesday, what do you have? A pick 'em and a -1 favorite. I didn't worry about it. But so far, this has not been a very chalky tournament to the tune of 12-5-1 ATS to the underdog. So you start saying, can we actually lay points here with an Iowa team that didn't play well down the stretch against a Clemson squad that has a boatload of experience and has been a tough out all year long. Right now, look at the odds logic live odds screen. Iowa -1.5, total sitting 130.5, 131s are out there. And it's basically getting two-way action. We haven't seen a lot of movement on the side. We haven't seen a lot of movement on this total. What we have seen is two teams that are kind of mirror images of one another. Clemson's going to play slow. Iowa's going to play slow. Neither team's great at rebounding. Neither team's great at shooting, both of whom play sticky defense. And that's the MO for these two squads. Two squads that the statistical profiles are comparable. So the things I like about Clemson, slow pace, loaded with seniors. The thing I don't like about Clemson is that they're not that good, even with the experience. Brad Barnell's no bet on coach in the big dance. And of course, when you talk about what matters most in March, continuity. Don't don't know if we're going to see that from Clemson. Obviously, Carter Welling, their 6'10 leading rebounder, second leading scorer. He missed the ACC tournament last weekend after playing every game all year, and he's sitting today as well. In my mind, that is an impact injury. Iowa didn't play great ball down the stretch. 3-7 finish. They were 18-5 at the start, and at the end of the year, they're sitting at 21-12, which doesn't look nearly as pretty. That being said, Iowa, in my mind, is exactly the kind of team that just wore down during the grind of the Big Ten campaign. When you look at their non-conference, when teams that weren't used to seeing what Iowa's bringing to the table, 10-1 straight up, 9-2 ATS in non-conference play. They've been very, very good at beating the teams that don't see them, the teams that aren't used to Ben Jacobson's defense. So I guess I'll say that I believe Iowa a little bit more than I believe Clemson. Clemson might be a very experienced team. I think Iowa's the better of these two teams. They're chalkier for a reason. If I'm playing, I understand the favorites have not been very good. But this point spread range, all we got to do is ask them to win. And if I'm playing, by the way, the Iowa Hawkeyes, which is the side I like here, I'll play them on the money line, not the -1.5. Last thing you want to do is say, oh, yeah, Iowa wins the game. Oh, by a point. And you get hooked. I'd rather lay the -115, -120 in these spots. That's the sweet spot for money lines, that 1, 1.5, even 2 range in college hoops. Once you get to 2.5, it's too much. I pick them, you don't want it necessarily, but 1, 1.5, 2-point favorites, we'll look to back those teams in particular on the money line. Let's look for Iowa to get the job done today.
Teddy with the breakdown and the great advice there on how to maybe save yourself a little bit of woe, especially with that nice dog record that we've seen here out of the gate. Guys, we got Sell Me coming up. Teddy, before we talk about this Northern Iowa St. John's game coming up here, I want to get your thoughts because I am one who has St. John's in my bracket that's basically cooked unless St. John's wins it all. I have them winning it all here, Teddy. So I'm hoping that you're not telling me they're going to get eliminated here today. But before that, what do you have up, man? This is a great time of a year for folks to take advantage of some of the specials that we have because the action is just flowing, brother.
Yeah, first play of the day tips off in like 5 minutes. Second play of the day tips off in 5 minutes. We're in action all over the place this morning. Total of 4 plays today in college hoops, 1 in the NBA. We have an all-access pass available on my homepage, www.buzz/TC. And, 24 and 25, both great tournaments for the clients. 68%, more than 50 units of profit combined the last 2 years. Yesterday split out. We won with Nebraska. We lost with Gonzaga. Today we've got 4 and the 1 NBA. So check it out on my homepage. Again, wt.buzz/TC, but don't buy plays, really. If you want to get on board, let's partner up. You get all access pass for today for $29. Good deal. Buy 3, get 3 free. Even better deal. Come check it out. I expect to win.
And that's the one that I was going to say, Teddy, because we got the college basketball, but Teddy mentioned there too, the NBA is rocking right now, folks. So a great way to take advantage of that. He mentioned that great low price point if you want the 1-day pass, but hey, jump it up just to, a little bit, and then you're getting 3 days and then another 3 days. So 6 days of access. That's going to get you plenty of action through the weekend. Check it out, wt.buzz/TC. All right, Teddy, set me up. Come on. Tell me they're at least not losing outright. Northern Iowa, and this has ticked up a little bit. So now you're seeing around 10.5 for my updated graphic here in St. John's taking on a UNI. How's Teddy breaking down this one, man?
Yeah, sharp money coming for the Red Storm this morning, which is worth owning. And from a travel scenario, obviously, there's certainly a little bit of disrespect for St. John's, who became the rare team to win the Big East regular season, win the Big East tournament, and then get a 5 seed and get sent all the way out west, where they haven't played all year long. And ironically, I don't know if it's ironically, but Northern Iowa, they already have 4 games on the West Coast this year. They played St. Mary's, they had a tournament in California, and they had another trip as well. So in terms of playing a long, long way from home, the Panthers in some ways have the edge over the Red Storm. But from a side standpoint, I'm telling you, Andy, I'm telling you, Dan, I was back and forth on this game, back and forth, trying to make a case for Northern Iowa, trying to make a case for St. John's. And when I do that, I don't ever want the side. I don't. The issue for me, the best bet in this game, in my opinion, is the total far more than the side. So, Andy, I can't tell you that St. John's is going to win this game because I'm not playing the side at all here. We're going to go total. And conceptually, the first, as you're thinking about the game conceptually, the first thing you're thinking is, oh, well, Northern Iowa wants to slow it down and St. John's wants to speed it up. And if St. John's correlates with over and Northern Iowa correlates with under. And then you actually start looking at what St. John's has done. And St. John's does not correlate with over because they play defense. And they've been really, look at what they just did to UConn, not once, but twice. They're very capable of playing a slow down game and still executing their half court offense because Northern Iowa is not going to give up anything in transition. It's going to be half court versus half court for these two teams. Now, we know how good St. John's has been, and Pitino, by the way, 6-0 straight up and against the spread when he's got a 5 seed against a 12 seed, which is pretty rare. And St. John's is 23-1 straight up versus non-quad 1 teams this year. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat. They're 19-1 straight up their last 20 games overall. But at the same time, Northern Iowa is a type of team that isn't going to play with pace against anyone. We know they're going to play sticky defense. And we can expect, even if St. John's does what they want to do here, this game's not up and down the floor. This game has grinder written all over it. If it's a double-digit lead for the Red Storm, we don't get fouling at the end. If it's a tight game at the end, it could be easily a one-possession game here as well. It's got that type of scenario where it's reasonable to think we're not going to get a bunch of scramble points in this one. First half under makes a lot of sense. I worry about the scramble points at the end, but no argument here with first half or full game under. I'm not expecting pace for the Red Storm and the Panthers as St. John's takes on Northern Iowa.
I heard what I want to hear, and it's that St. John's has good defense, and Teddy can't say that they're going to lose. But he did mention the total, something about that. But I was looking for my own answers there. So good stuff there by Teddy, of course. Good luck if you are playing that game. Comment below. Let us know if you do have a feeling on that 10.5-point spread as it's sitting today. All right, guys, let's play Sell Me. And I'm excited for this one because typically we've done football, we've done NBA. But what I like to do is find insane spreads and make you guys make cases. So in the college basketball March Madness tournament, there are many crazy spreads. And gentlemen, very rarely do I get to ask you to handicap a game that features sharks. That's right, the Long Island University Sharks, which, Andy, we've cashed in on in lacrosse, but we've never had to talk about here on the basketball sense. I feel much better about them on the field than on the court, but we're looking at a 30.5-point spread here as they take on Arizona. Teddy, you're going to have to sell me on this big-time dog. They've been doing well, so at least you can reference that again when making a case for LIU to stay within the number. Andy, a rightful favorite here, 30.5. Oh, you got to let me know. Wow. That's your side. And folks, when we're done here with the show, comment below. Let us know which guy you agree with here, which way you're playing this. If their team covers, you're entered in to win a free 3-day flex pass. And notice, guys, I put the hook on there, so ain't nobody pushing this week. All right, Andy, sell me on the Arizona side of the equation here. 30.5, brother.
All right. Well, we will start with Long Island, whose leading scorer only has 16 points per game. Already we're at an uphill battle. So big wins. I'll give them credit. Big wins against powerhouses like Mercyhurst, Wagner, and Chicago State to make it into the big dance. But when you look at Arizona, they are not shy about laying the absolute hammer on some of these teams. They have a 35-point win against Northern Arizona earlier this season, 30-point win against Denver. I see a 30-point win against Bethune Cookman. It's just too much for them to overcome, and Arizona will want to make a statement here. 2 seed. Did we have a 2 seed in the early game yesterday, win by 31 points? So I think history repeats itself here. Great season for the Sharks. Congratulations on making it here, but Arizona makes this look easy. I think this gets to probably 32, maybe 33 points.
I like it. So Andy is laying with Arizona here. Teddy, that 30.5 dogs have been doing nice. Is this another dog that can stay within the number? LIU Sharks, sell me on this college basketball side, Teddy.
Sure. So this is just like handing someone a pencil and going, sell me on this, and what's the read? Oh, you can sign your name. All right. LIU doesn't have to do anything. All right. Arizona is the team that has to do something here. Arizona's not just got to win. They can't win by 20. They can't win by 25. They have to win by 31 points. Arizona don't win many games by 31 points. All right. Yeah, they had one in February. They had one in January. They had, but it's certainly the exception rather than the rule. And the bigger issue here, for me at least, so I'm not going to make any case for LIU. I haven't watched them play. I don't know anything about that stupid team. What I know, all right, because that's not the key. The key is not the LIU side of the equation. The key is the Arizona side of the equation when you're talking about a 30.5-point spread. And when you have a team that just went balls to the wall in their conference tournament, we saw it from Duke yesterday. We saw it from Michigan yesterday. We see it all the time. If you played max intensity basketball last weekend for multiple games, like Arizona did, the first game of the big dance against a nobody's not a motivator. All right. You're survive and advance. You're not, let's crush this team. So my mind, 30.5 is rich. Give me the points with the Sharks. They're Sharks, dude. They can't. And especially in Vegas, where Tark the Shark was the thing and the guy and all of that. We got to love the Sharks.
Oh, please. It's on land. Wildcats beat Sharks on land. If this was a water polo
that's
game.
A good way
sure,
that's a good way to pick your bracket. I mean, honestly, good a reason as any.
So I was hearing a story yesterday. It was so much fun yesterday. Kelly set up a thing down at the Westgate Superbook here in Vegas. And there were a bunch of cappers and a bunch of guests there and all that. And someone was telling a story about Butler and UConn and how their 10-year-old and somebody's 10-year-old nephew won the contest that year because they thought UConn was good and because they thought Butler was like someone's butt and it was really funny and let's just put Butler in. And then so that's how you win brackets, man. It's some 10-year-old kids because he thinks Butler's funny. Butler, haha,
Which when I was 10, I probably thought Butler would have been funny as well. So
hilarious.
Can't
and there they are.
Kid. But guys, comment below 30.5. Let us know. One of my favorite sell me's because Teddy used the phrase, I don't care about this stupid team. And that was the team that he was selling you on. Expertly done. So comment below and let us know. 30.5 plus on LIU. That's Teddy's side. If you like Andy's side, the Arizona Wildcats lay in the 30.5. Comment below. Include your WagerTalk username. That's your chance for a free 3-day flex pass. Teddy, good luck with the action today, brother. Pleasure as always.
Hey, thanks, guys. And check out my new daily show, Teddy's Tips, right here on WagerTalk TV. I'm recording moments from now, so it'll be up in the 10 o'clock hour here on the left coast and the 1 o'clock hour on the East Coast. 10 minutes in and out, NBA talk every day. Check it out on WagerTalk TV. Cheers.
Yeah, and best way to remember that it's going up, hit that subscribe button, folks. I know we got some new people viewing in here for college basketball. Great way, if you like the content, just hit that subscribe button, the little bell. While you're down there, hit that like as well. And you get things like Marco's Deli, who's going to be coming up here. You get things like Bet On It. You get Andy's UFC breakdowns. You get everything you could want when you hit that subscribe button, folks.
I don't know if anybody caught it, but the best part of Teddy's breakdown was when he said, what I don't like about Clemson is that they're not very good. Astute. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. We can talk X's and O's and styles of play. And
it's not very good.
Someone who is very good is Marco. How's that for a professional segue?
Well done, Andy.
Yeah. You can't teach that. That just pure instinct from a pro here. Marco, happy.
Or you're good at kissing up. One of the two. I don't know which.
Hey, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Nothing wrong with that, baby.
Yeah, you 5% Texas won on Thursday, 4% NCAA underdog game of the week. So yeah, you are good, Marco. Don't sell yourself short. So
yeah, the top rated plays, Marco, have been crushing. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But Andy, you can set up his breakdowns here first.
Yeah, so Marco, how are you? You've had some good success on some of these big plays. So when you attack some of these first rounds, there's a million games, obviously. You looking at one or two real strong plays, or are you looking at like, hey, how can I get the best value with a bunch of different games?
I'm rinse and repeat every day. You're going to get the same stuff from me. I'm going to look on a daily basis. If it's, a normal card, I'm going to have generally 1 to 3 plays. I'm going to isolate that best game of the day. And it's generally going to be a 4% play. When it's really strong, it's going to be a 5% play. And I know for a lot of people, guys, that seems boring. They want action. I'm not an action junkie. I've been there. I've done that. What works for me is finding the best, 1 to 3 plays, big card, maybe 3 to 5 plays, and go from there. And I probably have some of the lowest volume at WagerTalk, but you can't argue with the success. We're over the last 45 days, 43 days to be exact. Sorry. We're up over 50 units for our clients. If I can keep putting a unit in the bank account every day on average, that adds up. It's consistency. We're hitting 60% for a month and a half. And I know everybody loves big plays, and it does put a lot of pressure on you when, you have those big plays, because you get customers that normally would not buy you on a day that, you have one of those 5% plays. It's maybe their first introduction to you, and you want to make that good impression and you want to win. But you know what? I'd rather, what's the old saying? Do you want, buy somebody fish dinner, or do you want to teach them to fish and they can, live and eat good for a long time? I would rather have the 60% run long term and just keep churning and churning the profit. And with low volume, we're not going to have those big swings that's why, you see that dome there, that big dome. I don't need big swings. I've done all of that. I want to just go out there and get the job done on a daily basis.
God, I want to fish dinner right now.
Hey, it's Friday. It's Friday again. We're going back to last week.
Hoagies for everyone. Here we go.
Fish and chips. I don't care what it is. All right, well, let's break down a couple games here. We'll go to Cal Baptist in Kansas. Obviously, it's we got a pretty big spread here. It's no 30.1, but Kansas minus 14.5 at the over under 138.5. Another low total on the board here. So how do we break down the Jayhawks and the Lancers?
I'm going to tell you right now, Cal Baptist is going to be the cool kids underdog today against Kansas, especially after yesterday. You saw, you already talked about it, depending on the line on that South Florida game. And trust me, in talking with John Murray at the Westgate yesterday, there wasn't a lot of people that pushed it at 4. Most people had South Florida and cashed the ticket. That line most of the week was above 4. So you either had 10-5-1 if you pushed South Florida, but most people, the dogs, were 11-5 yesterday. And they're going to be lining up to go against this Kansas team. Why? Well, Cal Baptist comes in here. They've won 6 in a row. They're 15-2 their last 17 games. The problem is they played against the WAC conference, very weak conference, but everybody's going to point to and look at, well, High Point come from the Big South Conference. Well, the difference between High Point and Cal Baptist is High Point was 31-4 in their conference. They were there at the top from pillar to post. They also were 7-2 on the road. You look at Cal Baptist in a weak conference was 25-8, but only 7-7 on the road. That's a big red flag. And you're going to look at Kansas. This is a team that when they get everything right, they're a contender. But too often, they have these games that you just can't explain. Part of it has been the distraction this year. Okay, we all know about Daryl Peterson, one of the best players. He's projected to be, if not the top, maybe top 3 NBA prospect. But, when you take him, you're getting some issues. He's missed a lot of games this year. He missed 13 games. In other games, he's played limited minutes. So you never know what you're going to get with him. But over the last 7 games, he has logged 30-plus minutes in 5 of the 7 games. So we should get a fully invested Peterson here. And to be honest, Kansas is not going to look past Cal Baptist for 2 big reasons. The first one is they're coming off a humiliating loss in the Big 12 tournament. Houston blew their doors off, 69-47. So that automatically is going to get you a focused team. They're not looking past anybody. And then because they're playing on Friday, they got to see Thursday's results, and they got to see that High Point upset that you can't take a team for granted. So they're going to come in here and be ready to play Cal Baptist. The other part of this is I got to look at the depth of these two teams. Kansas plays 8 players that see double digits, and that's because, again, talking about the issues they had with Peterson, what that does is because so many games they had to go to the bench for other minutes, that made the team deeper. When you look at, and they have 4 of the 8 players score double digits. So that's balanced scoring. When we look at Cal Baptist, it's all one player. Okay. They play a lot of players, and a lot of them all get points, but it's, minimal points, but they get contributions from other players. They don't have a bunch of double-digit scorers. They have one big guy that accounts for 30% of their scoring. With a coach like Self that, has been there, done that, and has the extra days to prepare for Cal Baptist, he's going to have a game plan to try to slow down their big guy in this game, Daniels. Daniels, as I said, he's a guy that has been averaging, I think, like 23 points per game on the season. That's 30% of their output. If he slows them down, Cal Baptist is going to be in trouble. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to lay it with Kansas. I'm going to go against the sexy pick, the in vogue pick, whatever you want to do. I'll go ahead. I'll take Kansas and lay it here for our first play.
Well, Marco, with Kelly in Vegas in town, I'm hoping you already grabbed dinner with her, because if she hears you talking positively about the Kansas Jayhawks, your invite will get rescinded. So you're in a safe place here, but let me just warn you, Kelly's in town, and that means Hurricane Kelly has come to town. So be careful. Tread lightly.
I saw Hurricane Kelly yesterday when I was at the Westgate. I was doing radio there from 2 to 4. I'll be there again today. So if you're in town, swing by. We'll be up on the podium in the back of the sports book by the poker room, live from 2 to 4 Vegas time. Check it out. Safely for me. Word has it that Kelly's going to be at a pool today, so I'm safe.
You're marked safe from the pool. That's for sure. So go check out Marco out there. Going to be a great show, as it always is. Marco, we're going to talk sleepers with you here in just a second, but you talked about maybe a dog that's in vogue. Action's been coming the way here of Mizzou. It's not the spread that we're talking about. This is a much closer line game, but last night we were sawing 2.5s out there in the marketplace for Miami. Mizzou getting a little bit trendy here. You agree with that, or are you going the other way? You got thoughts on the total here, Marco? Mizzou taking on Miami. This is how we'll end the night. Final game here of the round of the 32 games that we ran these last 2 days. 10-10 this one tips. How are you betting?
It seems like I tend to be the contrarian, and I'm going to be the contrarian here. Yeah. Who's going to want the ACC today? Come on, let's be honest. They went 0-3 against the spread yesterday. So a lot of people are going to overreact to one day, and they're going to say, oh, I can get an SEC dog versus this ACC conference that struggled yesterday. Yeah. Missouri enters the tournament on a 3-game losing streak. But I will say, in fairness to them, 2 of the 3 losses down the stretch were to Arkansas and Oklahoma. Next to Florida, Arkansas and Oklahoma was playing the best basketball down the stretch in the SEC. So there's no shame in losing those 2 games. But the problem is with Missouri, and this is similar to a game that I talked about on Bet On It earlier in a week. Shameless plug. We went 3-0 so far on Bet On It. I got one more play from the show in action today. But we talked about St. Louis in Georgia. And I said, Georgia's a team that can score a lot of points. The problem is they give up a lot of points. I don't like their defense. In this game reminds me of that. Missouri can go up and down the floor. They can score, but I don't like their defense. 5 of the last 6 opponents down the stretch shot 49% or better from the floor against them. Miami plays better defense, and I can't say my favorite mantra, whereas give me the better defense getting points. I can only say give me the better defense here in a pick the winner situation, because we're talking about a small number where the number should not come into play. We just got to pick the winner. I got to look at Miami in this one. And you want to talk about, offense going against that Missouri defense. Miami has been hot from 3 down the stretch. 6 of their last 7 games, they've shot 35% or better from the 3-point range. I'm going to go ahead and take them here. Everybody's going to be down on the ACC. That's when I want to get in there and mix it up. I'll go ahead and take Miami in this one in what's probably going to be a good game to close out the Friday night of action.
Marco saying you down on ACC. Well, you know me. I'm going the other way. I love it, Marco. That's a good way to break that one down. Real quick, Marco, we talked about what you got rocking, everything like that. We'll remind folks the special deals that are going up, and then also tell folks. I know that sleepers you're typically talking about before the tournament, but anything that stands out to you that maybe hasn't been quite uncovered, or anywhere where you're maybe seeing value that people want to hop in, or is this a time where you find a team you like, you're just rolling on over money line? How are you looking?
I've always been that way with, when you get into the tournament, you're better off just, doing the money line parlays from game to game with that team. You're going to end up with a better odds. What I am going to give you a tip here for the Saturday and Sunday games here, and it's something that a lot of people don't talk about enough. When you're breaking the games down, when I go from the Thursday and Friday games, although you always look at coaching and you want to, you have guys that have been there and done that versus guys that are there for the first time. People like to make a lot of an emphasis on, coaches with experience. I don't think it's as big in the first games, those Thursday, Friday games, because time is an equalizer. Okay. You've got those 4 or 5 days, depending if you're playing Thursday or Friday, to prepare a game plan, get ready, and come up with what you're going to do. Where I think the bigger edge to give to coaching is going from the Thursday to Saturday game, the Friday to Sunday game, because now you've got to turn around and prepare for a opponent that you've never seen before generally. Now, in the conference tournament, you say, well, Marco, they just did that in the conference tournament. No, they play those teams every year. And for some of those conferences that don't have 16 teams, they might have been playing for the 3rd time. It's easy to prepare for a team you play all the time. It's not as easy to prepare for a team you don't see. And the better coaches, the experienced coaches, have a bigger edge, I think, in the Saturday and Sunday games. That's my tip to the viewers for looking on, and something I'll talk about whenever we do Marco's Deli today. Here goes a great segue into promoting Marco's Deli. Guys, that'll be up later today. I am going to be working on that when I get off the air with you guys. We'll be sending it to the crew to get up. You'll see that later this evening. We don't want to get anybody confused with the games going today, so you'll see it tonight, but I'll have you covered for tomorrow with some plays. And like I said, Bet On It was gone since the Super Bowl, but we came back with vengeance yesterday with a nice 3-0 Thursday from Bet On It from us, and I got one more play in play today. If you didn't watch Bet On It, head on over there or go to my free page at WagerTalk. You'll see that play as well. And check out that 4% play I got going tonight. We've been red hot on the big plays. And as Dan said when Teddy was on, a lot of ways to save money. You can get the rest of the college basketball season, all the tournament games right through the NCAA championship game for $149. You want all the plays for the next 6 days for the price of 3. That's a great way to go. Buy a 3-day package, $69 regular price. We'll throw 3 more days in for you with that. And that not only gets you the college, but that gets you all of the NBA plays, the hockey plays. We're rolling 70% winners this week so far, 60% winners the last 43 days. Head on over to WagerTalk.com. Check it out.
Love it, Marco. Best of luck, brother. Always a pleasure. Keep cashing them, man. And good luck with the play going tonight, of course, too. Thanks, Marco.
All right, guys. Good luck.
Yeah, you love to see it, man. Now we're ready to bet the tourney, Andy, and we still got free plays left to go for the folks. I mean, this is a beautiful thing here, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, coming off a nice day yesterday, but we are going to lose the Let It Ride mission. Nothing we can do about it. We had a golfer to make the cut.
Injured.
He was truly awful yesterday, and he showed up to his tee time today with a brace on his wrist. So he obviously sustained an injury. yesterday during his round, which would explain his inexplicable. I mean, this guy's been one of the better players on tour. So just unfortunate. But if we wanted to start another one here, I would be happy to with, and I can give it away for free if we want to give it away for free to everybody. Dan, you in?
I'm in. You know that I'm in. Where are we?
Okay.
What are we going with?
Well, first of all, you did the right thing. You pulled out profits. So this was a very successful let it ride.
Yeah, I was very glad with the way that I attacked it. I know a couple folks were, DMing me saying, "Hey, I've been doing the let it ride. What do you think I should do?" I told them what I was going to do. I said, "Hey, I'm hopping out here for a second." So that's what I ended up doing. Still, I have 200 ready and primed to start up a new one here, Andy, for sure.
All right. Well, I mean, if we're going to start up a new one, we got to play the drop.
Let's do it.
All right. We've been seeing NBA props pretty well. So we're going to go to the NBA, and this is one that we've cashed a couple times. And the fact is the books are just not catching up to this one. So I'm just going to read you verbatim the write-up. This went out to clients earlier. It's Cameron Johnson for the Denver Nuggets. We're going to take him over 11.5 points. He had a rough patch, could not get into the flow with the Denver Nuggets, and that has completely changed. He is in elite scoring form right now. He's cleared this number easily in 5 straight games with not 12 points, but 15 plus points. And the volume is what we love to see. He's getting 10 plus shot attempts. He's converting efficiently. He's hitting at least 6 field goals in all 5. And from deep, he's been even better, knocking down 3 threes in 3 straight games. Matchup is really good. Toronto has struggled defensively on the road, especially against playoff caliber teams. They lost to Minnesota, gave up 115. Lost to Houston, gave up 113. Lost to Orlando, gave up 130. So they're allowing points in bunches. Wings and scores have been able to find success. So we got current role, current volume, shooting confidence, and we got a good opponent tonight, 11.5. This was the same number that we hit for clients last game, and there's been no adjustment on there. So I don't think the books believe in Cameron Johnson, but the Nuggets do, and I do as well. So this is a 4% client play, and we're going to start a let it ride mission. So that's going to be the very first play. I was stunned when I logged in and saw. Yeah, I was stunned when I logged in and saw 11.5 this morning.
Yeah, man, I love that.
We love when we get in. Again, what do we say during March Madness? The books are sleeping on some of these other sports. You can grab some really, really good lines on these ones. So, all right, that's good.
Andy, we got all around the world that we'll end it with. But Steve was saying, "Hey, all I want is another Dan Lacrosse play." Well, right before we logged on, I think we found one that we're going to fire on here, so it's going to be up. Guys, you want to grab? Andy just gave you away the free NBA prop that we have, but we have plenty of action coming with our team this weekend. One of which is going to be another top-rated lacrosse play that we have been smoking it on. I really like this one. It's going tonight. WT.buzz/AL is going to be the easiest way for you guys to get it. Grab that 3-day, get 3 days free. I mean, it's a no-brainer. $69, and we have plenty of action that's going to be going on. So if you want to supplement, have fun with the tournament, all that good stuff, but you want to supplement with these off sports that are not getting paid attention with, I think we have a line that might just be a real profitable one tonight. So best way to do it, buy 3, get 3 for free. Head on over WT.buzz/AL. We got one locked and loaded.
I'll take it one step further. You want to bet big on college basketball? Use the profits you get from these plays. We have a 4% tennis play that goes off tomorrow. We already have UFC plays that go off. We're having a 4% lacrosse play. I don't know if our boxing play tomorrow is going to be 4 or 5%, but you can't be doing much better in boxing. So we have a plethora of plays over the next few days. And little birdie told me there's a European darts tournament going on right now that we may have some plays in. So we got a lot of good stuff going on our page. So speaking of a lot of good stuff, let's do some free plays, and then we're out of here. The weekend starts as soon as we go all around the world. We're going to go Charlie McAvoy and Guy Santos, 2 unlikely suspects to be cashing on free plays, Dan. Every time.
Keep doing it.
So 12.5 points. How good has he been? Over an 8 straight. He's getting 29 minutes per game. He's made 2 or more threes in 5 straight. The big thing here, Dan, I don't know what this Pistons team is going to look like. I don't know if you heard the really brutal news. Cade Cunningham suffered a collapsed lung. is going to be out a minimum 2 to 4 weeks, but they're going to monitor him injury. I don't know how this Pistons team is going to look. So I think there could be a little bit of chaotic moments for them. I like Santos to go over. This comes from the free picks page over at WagerTalk. Ben Burns. This just made me laugh. He likes high points in High Point over Arkansas, over 168.5. High Point scored 83 against Wisconsin. They allowed 82. The Panthers averaged 93.8. Arkansas averages 90, and they just scored 97 against Hawaii. So Ben Burns is looking over High Point in Arkansas. And let's do a player prop in Cal Baptist in Kansas. Dominique Daniels for Cal Baptist under 21.5 points. I just think this Kansas defense is a massive step up for what he's seen. Kansas has allowed only 2 guys in their last 6 games to go over this total. I don't see Dominique Daniels being able to hang 22 points against this Kansas team. So that's going to be your free picks page. Thank you very much, guys. Dan, great stuff. And Is there any other less way? Like I'm trying to winning a fantasy football championship doesn't prove anything about how much you know about sports. And winning your college basketball bracket is, I think, college basketball bracket number one way that does not prove that you know what you're doing with sports.
Exactly that. Exactly that. This is why the person who couldn't even name you where some of these teams are on a map, Andy, are the ones who are going to win your office pool. It's not going to be you who grinded the entire season with college basketball. It's just that's the nature of bracketology, baby.
You're just going to overthink it and overthink it and overthink it. Next thing you know,
anybody still alive? Anybody still alive with a perfect bracket? Let us know. Let us know in the comments below here, folks.
There's a reason why they offer $1 billion, which, by the way, I downloaded the rules just to go through them because I'm a lunatic. By the way, they put in their rules. They're allowed to change the contest whenever they want.
Smart.
So if somebody makes it to the final
chance,
four,
you're never getting your $1 billion, Andy. Let's just put it that way.
I was gonna say, if somebody won that, can you imagine the litigation? It would be 100 lawyers involved.
Yeah.
If you won the $1 billion,
fine print saying we can change the contest is dirty work.
There's one, if a game is ever delayed, they have the option to delay or cancel the contest. So if you happen to win, but there was a delay because somebody spilled a drink.
Well, that happened last night because of the overtime game. So if someone was having a perfect bracket, the game that was supposed to go last actually went second to last. So there was a delay.
Yeah, if anybody wins the $1 billion and they come to you and say, "Hey, we're going to tie this up in court for the next 47 years. Here's $10 million. Just take the payout."
Yeah, always take the payout. We always say, "Let it ride, bet on yourself." Yeah, when they're saying we're going to get litigious, take the payout.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got a big weekend, guys. Yeah, this is not legal or financial advice. Caveat. So, all right, thanks very much, guys. Good luck on all your brackets. Good luck on all your bets. Remember, bet responsibly. And remember, if you're looking for sports outside of college basketball, what you should be, we are your guys. We got some really good plays up for this weekend. Take care. Have a good weekend. And we're going to be back Monday to recap everything and get you ready for the next week. Good luck on your bets. Take care.